What's up, guys? Welcome back to IT Security Labs. And this week, as you can see in my background here, I'm not in my usual spot. I'm actually in the process of moving. So I moved my lab to the Elastic Cloud for detection. We'll be focusing on host-based intrusion detection. In this case, we have the Elastic Siem solution, and we installed the Elastic client or the Elastic agent. And the Elastic agent in this case is going to send all of our agent logs from the host to the Elastic Siem solution. Then from the Elastic Siem solution, we can see the logs in real time as the victim is being attacked, as you can see here. And then we can also monitor specific applications if we wanted to, like Apache, to be able to detect if our server is being hit by tools like Dirbuster or GoBuster. And also, we can interact with logs in real time and see things like failed logins, which can be very important and helpful. Today we will be working on a machine called Victim1. And Victim1, as you can see here, is a very easy machine, boot2root from vulnhub. And it says that enumeration is key for this machine, and if you brute force SSH, you'll get banned. Well, I will actually brute force SSH to actually see the behavior of the machine and also to test if my authentication monitoring from our SIEM solution is going to actually work or not. If you're brand new to this channel, I do these videos every week, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, where we try to complete CTF machines in an effort to learn both ethical hacking and also detection. How do we detect attacks when they're happening? What tools can we use? And in this case, we're working with Elastic Siem. So without wasting time, let's get started with our scan to find out what's actually vulnerable on this machine and how can we get in. And as we do that, we'll also be looking at some logs. So to start, we say nmap -sv -sc, then we do 192.168.38.22, 23. So how do we know that it's 192.168.38.23? We can run net discover, or in this case, we actually have a router that I'm running, which is really good for your lab as well. pfSense is the best router. In here, I'm running a DHCP server. And in my DHCP lists, I can tell that victim 01 is 192.168.38.23. So if you're not familiar with firewalls, pfSense, or OpenSense, I have a whole series on this channel that will show you how to set up your own lab. And pfSense is the best firewall to use if you're doing this. So, well, as you can see, our Nmap actually completed. We ran just the top 1000 ports using default scripts, just finding service versions. And we were told we cannot brute force SSH, so we'll move on to port 80. So first thing that I do with port 80 is I'll usually run tools like GoBuster. So GoBuster, directory brute forcing on our IP address for the URL using this word list here, directory brute force medium.txt. So we use that. So GoBuster will go there and try to find. We see /image, template, and things like that. And while it's doing that, let's visit our actual site, 192.168.38.23. And as you can see here, we don't have much. No configuration file found. We can view page source. We have nothing there. Let's see if any of the directories that we're finding here works. Oh, right away we see /administrator. The machine does say enumeration is key, so you will notice that there's going to be a lot of just checking and checking and checking. /administrator doesn't do anything again. So port 80 looks to be like a dead end. Next, after this, you will have to check all these. You can check things like robots.txt if it's there. Make sure that you check this file. And it says disallow this. You can check that to see. Again, this is going to be a lot of checking and checking and make sure that things work. So we don't have that. We can, but at least we checked. Then This was just the top 1000 ports. We need to run Nmap again with the -p option here. Again, service version and everything. If you do that and compare the results to just one without -p, you'll notice that we do have extra ports, 899, which is not here. We have 8080 and 9000 here. But 899 also pops up when you use the scan for all ports. So you need to check everything. So 9000. As you can see, we see something like bolt. You can view page source here. Hopefully it tells us what it is. Please install whatever the driver. You just need to make sure that you check everything. But this one doesn't work. We can run GoBuster on this as well. On port 9000, just like that. Let's specify the port 9000 here. Make sure that whatever comes out of this, you check. This is just us making sure that we check everything. So we see /files. Let's go here. Check that /files. Says no. View page source. Nothing. A lot of rabbit holes. So you get the idea. You can also run Nicto. -h, I think. Is it HTTP 192.168.38.23? Make sure that you check with Nicto to see if anything of interest is there. And as you can see, Nicto will try to go and find if there's anything like this version of Apache is outdated. Make sure to check even the other ports as well as you go through this. But when I didn't see anything there. So just a quick pause here. If we go back to here, we will notice that if we just remove this victim here, we can see when the attack was happening just by looking at our logs. So let's see. Let's look at last day. What I'm going to show you is we can have a baseline, and then if things don't work out, as you can see here, there is an increase in logs from less than 100,000 to almost 500,000 events coming in. So with monitoring, you can tell. And here we actually can see that we have logs coming from Kali and also logs coming from our machine, where you can just search by saying agent.hostname equals to victim01, I believe. This will just give us the actual logs in raw format. So if you know which fields to look for, you'll be able to see that. If you go to our Apache metrics here, right away you can see that the metrics just jump up. Our usage actually goes really up. So CPU will go up. Apache load, the load will go up. Request per second will also go up. Then even the scoreboard will go up. You can look for HTTP response codes, which also come with Apache, and then you can actually see that there's going to be a lot of 400 response codes out there as well. So as you can see, it went down here when I was not attacking, and now it's sped up. So this is how being able to monitor your host can actually show you indicators of compromise. If we go to our detection here, our Kali Linux is running Nmap. So our detection field actually picked up that we're running Nmap. So if you upload these tools to your victim, they will be picked up as well, especially with just the default Elastic agent. We can create custom rules here. I'll probably do that in the future. But this is just what comes out of the box from this Elastic Siem here, which you can install by going to here. All right, so now that we've looked at everything, 8080 doesn't give us anything. 9000 is nothing, but you need to look at it. 899 actually does give us something interesting. Because if I come here, you will notice right away that it's a file server. We see WordPress files here. If we look at this, the best idea is use wget and download the whole directory if you can. Or in this case, I saw that there's a pcap which is owned by root. So that is really interesting right away. So I'll save that pcap because pcap files are captured from the network. So we are actually back to network data. So if I go, let's go and see. All right. So it's in my downloads folder, of course. So I would have to just find it. Here's the pcap. So since we have a pcap, we can try to view this in Wireshark. Or TCP dump or any other tools from the terminal. Or we can just, in this case, our pcap actually has a hint for us. Our pcap says WPA01, so WPA is a wireless protocol that we're using here. But let's try to see if we can open it first. This is not in the root, it's in the downloads. There it is. There is our pcap. I see a bunch of data from D-Link, then Apple. So we can use Wireshark to do this, or we can use aircrack-ng, since we now know that this is actually wireless traffic. We can actually search through these packets to see if there is any SSID that was captured in plain text here. Or we can use aircrack-ng, which is my favorite tool for wireless, to actually brute force it. So let's do this. Can we do that? Yeah. So here's the help for aircrack-ng. It gives us the cracking options. We need the word list. We should be able to get the username and password from this if we want to crack WPA in this case. So let's use roq.text for this, aircrack-ng minus word list, such user share word list roq.text WPA. All right, so using roq.text, we should be able to crack this in no time. So whilst doing that, let's go back to our machine here. Because I wanted to show you more things. If we go to the network section, this will just show us the status of our network in real time. And as soon as this loads, ignore these errors that show up in the bottom here because they're just fine. But as you can see, most of my traffic is in North America. So for defenders, it's very important to keep your traffic in the same region. So in this case, North America. If I saw traffic going to any other continents and I'm responsible for a company that just works in the United States, and then I'll be concerned. I would like to look at geofencing, firewall monitoring, and things like that. But in this case, we have 2 sources, 3 destinations. Here is a bunch of events. If you scroll down here, you'll see even more events. But in the detection here section, Nmap was picked up several times, so we don't have much going on there. You can actually create cases here if you wanted to. I won't be doing that. Then we can actually interact with our logs in real time if we knew what we are looking for. In this case, we know that Kali is the one attacking, so we can look for specific traffic going to victim. Then saying and agent.hostname also equals to Kali. We can isolate those 2 only if we wanted to. Is it Kali or something else? Let's see. Victim 01, and then of course, I'm not sure what the agent name for the Kali Linux is, which we can see in a little bit here. All right, so aircrackng finished. It found a key password, which is very, very interesting. So after cracking it, the SSID is D-Link, which is interesting, and then this is the password. So here I was stuck for a little bit. Then I was like, you know what? Let's do this. SSH, because SSH is open, right? D-Link, after a long time, at 192.168.38.23. It doesn't make sense to SSH with the SSID name to a machine, but in this case, for this CTF, that's what they had, and sure enough, we're in there. My machine is complaining about running out of space because I'm putting logs for my Elastic agent in the temp directory, but we're able to get in here. So once you crack the password here using this command, go ahead and sign in as D-Link. And then the easiest thing here for our privileged escalation is to start with sudo -l. In this case, it says, or you can run user bin no password, try harder. Okay, well, you can do that. But I think it's a rabbit hole. Sudo that. I don't think it gives us anything. What was the password? Oh. Okay, so we cannot do that. So the next for me is either you put linps out there or you look for SUIDs. SUIDs are the easiest thing to find. Paste. And give this a little bit. Since we are actually monitoring the agent, we should be able to see these scans that we're doing here, whether we use linps or winps with our intrusion detection system. If we look harder in these logs, after a while, we should see that this is actually happening as well. Let's see if our detections is actually going to find anything else. I'm just going to refresh all these tabs for detection. And while this is looking for SUIDs, it does take a little bit to make sure that everything works, because this is a dead end here. But let's give it a second. And while it's running, if these logs were useful, we should be able to expand them and take a look at what is happening here. This is the host IP. What log were we looking for? This is filebit. So this is not a helpful log. When I move into the new house that I'm moving to, I will actually do this, both our network data and our victim host-based data, because I think it's important for us to look at the actual hosts themselves as well. But in this case, SOIDs is still going. Let's see if we'll find something. Let's keep looking at these logs, because I'm actually fascinated by what we can see here. All right. Since our SUIDs, actually, we're just finding them right now. What you want to do is go through this list, make sure you can see everything that's here. I don't see much yet. Let's see. I don't see it yet. Let's just wait for it for a second. All right, we're done. So if we look here, I saw ping, mount, sudo. There's a lot. Let's see. We also see air ping, which is interesting. That one is interesting. I'll have to check that one. But this one definitely works because I've seen this one. I don't remember if that's from when I did this, but if you go to GTFO beans, this is where you come and search for your SUIDs. See that we have no app. And if everything works, we should be able to just copy, I think. No, that's SUID. So we want this one. All right, let me try that. Let's see. We paste that. Right? So that one worked. It was just this one here. So let's see. Who am I? Okay. Should be able to say cd/root ls cat. So there it is. That was the flag. So since we just executed the SUID, ideally we'd like to come in here and also make sure that our detection works as well. So that's what I'll be working on in the future. Make sure that detection works and it can find the SUIDs and that everything is actually in place. Otherwise, let's see if we detected something new here. No. But if we look at the actual events, we should be able to see that we actually detected it. This is when we were brute forcing. I'm just looking at our logs here. If I go to host, okay, user authentications, that was just one. Let's look at authentications here. Here we are signing in with D-Link on victim 1. As you can see, it sees that. Let's try to see if we can actually increase this number. So if I went here and go to password cracking with Hydra, can I do, which one can I use? Not password cracking. I think it's in my enumeration. Hydra, let's see if I have SSH here. Let's use Hydra and see what happens. Because remember earlier we were told that brute forcing will get you banned. Well, let's put that to test. So we're going to put Hydra with roq.txt. I think that's the syntax. Let's try a random user. Let's see if it actually picks this. Okay. I guess we are going to follow the syntax the same exact way. Hydra -L, random user. No. This should work. or I do this all the time. Where I forget to specify the actual IP address. There we go. So we are attacking SSH right now on that machine. So let's go and check. Well, either we get blocked or this number keeps going up. Let's refresh that for a second. And in our network here, our traffic should be fine. Host. Let's go back here. I'm expecting that number to be increasing. Elastic Cloud is not going to be super fast, but it should give us the numbers. Okay, still saying 2 failed. So I wonder if we get banned right away, or it's just taking a second to log here. Give it a second. Let's go to host. Still see 2 failed. All right, so after a while, you will notice that it does not allow brute forcing, because this failed attempts actually does not increase, and my brute force is going in the background here. I don't see any increase in there. However, if you go here, our host auditing is telling us we have a rule that fires user discovery via who am I. If we go, we can actually see, I think that's when I go to root. That's the rule. Let's look at the table. This is endpoint security. The user was D-Link. That's the group name for the user. This was the host name, victim01, and that's the IP address, and it's Ubuntu. So we can tell that we did run who am I to find who we are, and this is the rule that fired. So we really like to get into how to create these rules, and we can see what is this rule looking for. Here's a custom query. Process name, who am I? If you run the process name, who am I, it's going to be picked up by the Elastic agent. So I bet the command sudo will also, if you run anything with sudo privileges, should also get picked up. But right now I'm not seeing anything. So that's what I had today, guys. Just showing you a little bit of Elastic here. Obviously there's more that we can cover in the future, but otherwise this was a simple machine, and in the future we will be integrating again Elastic Agent. Otherwise, thank you for joining me tonight. I will be seeing you guys again next week when I will be moving my lab with Security Onion and also integrating with Elastic Siem. So thanks for joining, and see you next time.